Welcome, everybody, to Dueling Aces for your awesome February 20th and the awesome pleasure of having Mr. Chipper join us this evening. Bruiser.
Thank you, guys.
Zolt is on temporary daddy assignment this evening.
Well, I mean, he's
good
about
good luck to Mary on the bar, because that's what he is. He is helping with taking care of Danny, and Mary is studying her butt off. So, good luck to her on the bar, and we'll see Dave next week.
If she's on the bar, who's on the main stage?
Wow.
I'm not touching that one. I'll save that one for Zolt to answer next week. And Adam is now on third shift temporarily. So
for this week, right? Or 2 weeks?
Yep, for this week.
Take it with you.
Yeah, he's had a pretty busy weekend. He's had a pretty busy weekend this weekend with all the shows that he's done this weekend.
Yeah. He's just been pimping out.
Yeah, that last one's a little bit of a sore spot.
Due to technical difficulties, it was interesting.
I heard.
But let's jump right into Daytona 500. Let's jump right on into it. I was actually during dinner last night looking, and all of my drivers had 20 and 30 points, and I'm going, oh, okay, that's a surprise. And then all hell broke loose.
Did you end up third?
Yeah, not by much.
No, because I ended up in second by 5 points.
Was it 5? I was gonna say, when I first saw it last night, it looked like by 1.
It was by 1, but when all of the results got finalized today, this morning, and the bonus points and stuff were added up, Zolt won by 5, and then I got second, and then you weren't far behind. I mean, you were.
Yeah, I know it wasn't too far back.
Zolt had 165, I had 160, and then you had 152, which, considering last year's Daytona 500, where I scored a grand total of 65 points.
Now, do you guys do yours on NASCAR Fantasy Live?
Yeah.
I had 110.
You want an invite to the league, Chipper?
Sure.
All right.
Yeah. I had 100. I had 110 because it's Daytona. You can pretty much start anybody, and it's a crapshoot. So
Well, here I almost
150. Yeah, but the 152 ain't bad.
I almost took $20 yesterday and put $5 on Eric Amarola, $5 on Ricky Stenhouse, $5 on Bubba Wallace, and then $5 on Brad Keselowski, because all of their odds were at plus 1,500 or up.
Wow.
At one point, Ricky Stenhouse's odds were plus 4,400.
Yeah. Yep.
So I don't know what the return on that is.
Ooh, a lot.
Now going into the race, I actually put money on both Ford and Chevy to win, just because Toyota sure as hell wasn't going to win. But I also had Ryan Blaney to win and finish in the top 10. I had Joey to win, and then during the race, because I saw how good Jimmy Johnson was doing, I decided to put a couple bucks on him just for the hell of it, because at the time he was in the top 10. So when it came to the end of the race, Joey was up there in the top. I'm like, oh, I'm looking so good. And then obviously what happened, and Joey didn't win. So
I thought the only Toyota that had a chance at one point last night was Travis Pastrana.
Really?
Was Pastrana. He did a really good job of staying out of the fray. He did a really good job of drafting with everybody he drafted with. He was a pretty good pusher from what I saw.
This tastes more spicy. Yeah, I put more spicy.
But
Like-
he also
Spicy.
had the ability had he not had that last caution not come out, I think as they're coming off of 2 with 2 to go, he could have made a move and got up into the top 5.
Probably, but he got stuck in the middle. He got stuck in the middle, so
He got sandwiched.
yeah, just like Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson was stuck in the middle. He really didn't have a place to go. So,
My headline says it all, though, that Stenhouse got lucky. He really did get lucky.
sure. And isn't that what Daytona is basically all about, though? You got to stay out of this stuff, and you get lucky.
Yeah, but see, it speaks to the larger point, and my complaint of the weekend is that no National Series race finished under green. The truck race finished under caution.
Yep.
The Xfinity race finished under caution.
Rain. Yep.
The truck race was rain.
Yep.
The Xfinity race was a wreck.
There you go.
Yep.
And then the Cup race finished under caution due to a wreck. And I think if it is your biggest weekend of the year, aside from your championship weekend, I think you need to do whatever it is to make sure that race in particular and that weekend in particular finishes under green, because you had the battle of all battles setting up with Keselowski, Buescher, Austin Dillon, and Kyle Busch.
Well, first, going back to the Xfinity race, I thought that whenever they hit the button was entirely too late, because by the guy was already on his roof.
I agree.
That button should have been hit long before they said they showed the picture of what they used to determine who won.
I'm an Allgaier guy.
I'm an Allgaier fan.
And Allgaier should have held up the trophy. The moment that who was that? It wasn't Snyder.
What? Who wrecked?
Yeah, who flipped? Sam Mayer.
Yeah, Sam Mayer. Yeah, and the one car.
So the moment that Sam Mayer's front tires come off the ground, that button should be hit. The moment he is anything other than parallel with everybody else, that button needs to be smacked.
Yep. Totally agree. Totally agree. Which is interesting, where they come up with that, the picture that they showed to determine the winner. Like that can't be possible, because if they actually hit the button, he was already up in the air.
He'd already landed.
That button should have been hit. Yeah.
When they hit the button.
Oh man, here we go. Here we go.
He's missing the point entirely. As usual. The problem with it was the way that they determined the winner, they determined the caution. Sam Mayer had already gone up over at least 3 cars, landed, caused another wreck, and they were into turn 3 when they hit the button.
They should hit the button as soon as he got airborne. Period.
100%. I 100% agree with you, and I don't. The truck race, I mean, you had 27 to go, and I get it. You're starting that thing late, and you're not going to drive the track and put those cars back out there at 11 or 12 at night. But you got 27 to go. You got 27 laps to go. Pause the race, freeze the field, put them under the tarp, finish it in the morning.
Okay. I'm fine with that idea. Sure. Yeah.
And tell the because people are coming for the ARCA race and people are coming for the Xfinity race. So tell them, hey, if you had a ticket to the truck race tonight, we're going to let you back in, but we're also going to let you back in to stay for the ARCA race for free.
Now the only problem with that is time constraints. I mean, I don't know what time the ARCA race was, but would they
1
have
o'clock.
time? Okay, so would they have had time? Because I know the Xfinity race started at what 5:30.
5:30. So if you say we're gonna restart the truck race at 10 a.m.
Okay.
We're gonna restart the truck race at 10 a.m. Weather's supposed to be clear tomorrow. Track should be in really good shape. So we're gonna restart the truck race 10 a.m. We're gonna finish the final 27 laps, and we're gonna get if you came for the truck race tonight or you come back for the truck race tomorrow, we're gonna let you stay for the ARCA race.
I don't have a problem with that idea in any way, shape, or form. Sure, yeah. Let them finish it the first thing in the morning. Yep.
Because there was the only thing that would have conflicted with it was Xfinity practice. Because I think Xfinity practice was at noon.
That sounds right. Yeah, the only thing I can say to that is the fact of the time constraints. But to your point, I was listening to another station this morning. They were talking about why can't how it works in overtime if when the lead car comes up and gets the white flag, why can't the race finish under? Why throw the caution? Because if something happens behind the leaders or whatever, why not just finish the race? Why does it have to finish under caution? Let it finish out.
Because it's a safety thing, and I get it.
I know that. I know that too. I get that too. But it's just the point that, especially in a race like the Daytona 500, you gotta let it finish under green.
I think for the 500 and the championship, they should amend the rules of instead of green, white, and then once the leader takes the caution, whatever the next flag is ends the race.
Yeah.
I think for the 500 and for the championship, we're going to do this under green. And if we got to restart this thing 10 times, we got to restart it 10 times, but it's finishing under green.
I'm of the opinion that if the caution or wreck, whatever you want to call it, happens X amount of cars behind the leaders, just let them finish it. Let them race to the checker flag, because obviously whatever happens behind the leaders isn't going to affect the outcome of the race.
Well,
again,
no.
I understand the safety thing. I totally do, but I'm of the opinion that if a wreck caution happens well behind the leaders, that let the leaders race to the checker flag and let that determine it, as opposed to let's go to the videotape or photo or whatever.
Well, hell, I mean, Ricky Stenhouse is the one that caused Austin Dillon to win the summer Daytona race at the end of the regular season last year, because he smacked the wall.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I remember that.
Wasn't 15 cars around anybody, and they threw a caution for it. So I think you're onto something. I think you're in the right ballpark, but I think you got to be careful, because let's say Gregson or somebody else is in 21st and gets sideways.
Yep.
And wipes out 10, 12 cars. You got to throw a caution there, because you don't know. It's an injury thing.
Yeah, but it doesn't affect the leaders.
It doesn't affect the leaders. I agree, and I 100% agree with you on that. But I think if they're on the backstretch of Daytona, it's a full mile and a half to the start finish line from middle of the backstretch.
Yeah, and the leaders are far ahead of wherever that accident is happening.
But what's coming next is cool down laps. You're not woeing those cars down all that much, and if that wreck is on the backstretch, I understand why you throw the caution, especially there.
Okay, I see that, but I just still think that, you know, if the caution wreck, whatever happens behind the leaders, you know, whatever one's out 5, 10 cars behind, let them race to the checker flag. That I'm just saying. I understand the whole safety aspect, you know, whatever else. I'm just thinking people are irritated by this kind of a situation where, you know, somebody like a Ricky Stenhouse or somebody, you know, who wasn't even near near the front or had a chance to win the race because they threw the flag or threw the caution. He ends up winning the race. Let him race to the checker flag.
My my problem though is they changed. So one of my other problems is they changed the rules starting this year. You no longer have to be in the top 30 in points to get into the playoffs.
Okay.
Ricky Stenhouse won. He's in no matter what.
Oh yeah. Yep.
He's in the playoffs. The only thing that is going to bump him out is if we have more than 16 winners, and I think we will.
Which we did last year.
We did last year. I think we're going to have 19 different winners in the regular season.
I was to say, how many different ones? It almost seemed like there were different ones every week last year.
There was a total of 19 winners throughout the entire season last year. But I think we're going to get 19 different winners in the regular season this year.
I was going to say, isn't that what you want, though? I mean, for your sport,
absolutely, especially when you're getting when the negotiating window for the TV rights deal has opened. Because right now, NASCAR can talk to Fox and NBC, and then I want to say around June or July, the proposals have to be into NBC and Fox, and then NASCAR has the right to reject them and then can open the bidding to anybody else. And I know for a fact that ABC and ESPN are wanting to get in on it. I know that that YouTube has thrown out its hat in the ring for streaming rights to NASCAR, much like they did with buying the NFL Sunday Ticket.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how that's going to work out.
One of the other groups that got thrown out for NASCAR as far as streaming goes was Amazon Prime. But you have TV entities, Fox, CBS, ABC/ESPN, and NBC all wanting to jump on the NASCAR bandwagon, and having 19 or 20 different winners in the regular season only broadens the spectrum of the sport and makes it more noticeable. So you can get things like the old Tide cars and the sponsorship. You would send away to Tide, with like 4 bottle caps from your Tide boxes or your liquid detergent bottles, and they'd send you back a diecast car, or Kodak, or Fruit Loops when Kellogg's was sponsoring Terry Labonte.
Well, I agree with what Dave is saying. Fans want different winners, and so do the sponsors. Although I'm a Harvick fan, what was it, 2 years ago when Harvick and Truex were winning? They each won like 9 and or 7 races or something like that.
Harvick and Hamlin.
The same drivers win every week. Kind of sucks.
NASCAR's already on Peacock, Dave. You can watch the Xfinity Series on Peacock because NBC owns it.
I was gonna say don't put the regulars on Peacock though. I mean, they're getting money grubby hungry.
You can already watch it on Peacock. Peacock Sports. You can already watch them on Sundays there.
Yeah, but watch them pull that Peacock Prime thing, make people pay more for it.
Yeah, You're saying that even though the Xfinity race right now is on FS1 Fox, you can actually watch them on Peacock.
So for the Fox portion of the year,
Yeah.
all the races stream on Fox Sports 1.
Yep.
When you get to the NBC portion of the year, whether they're on NBC or USA, they stream on Peacock.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, I thought you were saying that right now you can watch Xfinity
No.
on Peacock. Okay.
No. I'm an idiot. I'm not that big of an idiot.
So what did you guys think of the duels?
As much as I hated the Clash before it went to LA, I hate the duels even more.
Really?
I think they serve no purpose anymore.
Why is that?
Because they impound the cars, so everybody shows up in their qualifying trim. No adjustments have been made. Nobody can race. Nobody can pass. You just get 60 laps of them riding 2x2, and then it's whoever pitted the best and had the best track position wins.
Now, I do think that the thing that sucked the most about the duels is the fact they couldn't at least have like a half hour's worth of practice just to make sure that the cars are right. Because who was it that went up there, started qualifying, and his car started sputtering, and they found out it was an electrical issue or something like that. He ended up Connor Daly. Yeah. So, if they were allowed to have practice for at least a half hour or something, they would have found that problem ahead of time and would have been able to get the part that he needed or the problem corrected so that he could have raced in the duels.
I think they should have had a half hour, or I think it should be an hour, to be honest with you. She get an hour practice before qualifying. Wednesday afternoon, throw them out there for an hour. Let them tune those cars.
Why do they need that much time?
And that was before last weekend's race, correct?
This weekend.
This weekend's race.
Yeah. An hour allows you to not only play around with a full fuel run, but it gives you the opportunity to, all right, we're going to go out. We're going to go out for 20 minutes and we're going to run in these different scenarios. And then I want you to slow down when your tires are kind of worn, and I want you to give me everything you got for one lap. And we'll do a baseline at the beginning, and we'll do a baseline at the end and see how far off we are. And I think allowing them to do that kind of practice where they can get two good runs in with time for adjustments would make qualifying better, and it would make the duels better.
Now the one thing I'll throw out at you is the main reason why they did away with practice is money.
I know, but I don't think that. Listen, do you need 3 hours of practice on a weekend? No, you don't. You don't need 3 practice sessions. Those cars don't need to be out there that much. But to not have practice before qualifying of your biggest race of the year, the one that everybody wants to win, I think is asinine.
Well,
Some of those,
especially since the car hasn't been on the track since Phoenix.
But look, Travis Pastrana and Connor Daly had never, ever sat behind the wheel of a Cup car except for in a simulator. And their first time sitting behind the wheel, for Connor Daly, it was at the duels. For Travis Pastrana, it was qualifying.
Mm-hmm.
You need to get those guys out there. No matter, look, are Connor Daly and Travis Pastrana qualified to drive a Cup car? Absolutely. Look at what they've done in their motorsports careers. Like, I'm not trying to besmirch their skill at all.
I'll be honest. This weekend is the first time I've ever heard of Connor Daly. So
he's an IndyCar driver.
Okay, no.
But drafting, especially at places like Daytona and Talladega, is an entirely
Atlanta.
different, and Atlanta now is an entirely different animal than getting behind somebody at, say, Charlotte or
Mm-hmm.
Michigan or even Indy.
Mm-hmm.
You saw it multiple times last night. Those bumpers aren't flat anymore. They're rounded.
Nope. Yep.
And if you push too hard the wrong way, you're right hooking somebody, unintentionally or not, right into that outside wall at 190, 195 mile an hour.
Yeah. Yep.
And
George,
I don't care how safe those cars are. I don't care how well you're strapped in. 195 mile an hour into safer barrier and concrete hurts.
I was gonna say it's still gonna mess you up.
George, what do you think about the whole practice thing?
Like you said, still learning a lot more in detail, especially listening to you guys talk about it. So as far as like you were saying, you do need, if you've got it's just like any practice actually. And like Bruiser was saying, if you've got to sit there and tweak something, where you even said, hey, the dude could turn around and hurry up, get the part and fix whatever needed to be fixed ahead of time. I mean, it's just common sense. I mean, I even remember when Indy, when they're sitting there doing practice runs, they'd sit there through hours of the day just to turn around and get 3-4 cars going all at the same time. And they're just in practice run. I mean, that's what practice runs are for. I mean, you've got to get used to the track. The conditions of the track are always constantly changing. So you need it. I mean, especially that the conditions, I mean, Bruiser said it, give him an hour on Wednesday, but even the track condition is going to change between Wednesday and Saturday or Sunday.
Sure, the track conditions will change between Wednesday and Sunday, but the thing with, like, you look at Connor Daly's car from the duels, right? You look at how hard that thing was bouncing on those bumps on the back stretch. I mean, in the off season, Daytona was up to the top of the wall and the safer barrier on the backstretch underwater. You can't tell me that that amount of water didn't do anything or damage the asphalt in any way. I realize that they did their best to fix it, but those cars are really rigid and they bounce a lot.
Oh yeah.
So to say to Connor Daly, hey, I realize you couldn't qualify tonight, but you're in the duels tomorrow. Guess what? That's your first time on track at speed. At speed.
Now
is in a pack with other cars.
Is the whole no practicing thing throughout the whole season?
So there are races where there is practice. Most of them are like 15 minutes. There was practice at Daytona, but it was Saturday morning. Friday afternoon or Saturday morning.
Yeah, it was sometime Saturday. Yeah.
So, but what my point is, you had practice well after qualifying and well after the duels. You got it backwards. Practice should have been the first thing that happened.
Well, that basically was my question. I mean, going forward throughout the whole season, I mean, are they allowing practice like it used to be? Are they allowing any kind of practice going throughout the whole season before qualifying, or is it no practice whatsoever? You go straight to qualifying.
No, they're doing it the same as last year. There was an hour total of 50 minutes. It was like
each of the two groups gets a 15 minute practice session.
Yeah. So the group it's split up into two groups. They get 15 minutes, and then they qualify after the second practice session.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
So they're doing practice and qualifying as one television event every race.
Okay. So it just happened to be Daytona that they didn't do the practice before qualifying.
before qualifying, and that was my problem.
Yeah.
Because listen, Travis Pastrana is not getting geared up to go run Bristol or Martinsville or Pocono. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're going to pull guys out of the woodwork to run the Daytona 500 because that means something.
Yeah, and that's why I felt bad for those guys, because to your point, you're bringing a Travis Pastrana, a Connor Daly right off the street. They've never even been on a NASCAR track. They've been spending all their time in the simulator and stuff, trying to get used to it. And here they are, going and trying to get into qualifying without even being behind the wheel at Daytona.
Yeah, what's your opinion? What's your opinion on a simulator?
Oh, those are awesome.
Yeah, it's needed anymore.
The Pastrana, I'll give a little bit more credit to, because Pastrana had raced trucks before, so
okay,
he raced in the truck series for a little bit. I think he ran for Kyle Busch for a while, but
I don't remember.
But Pastrana had run in the truck series, and I think he had one Xfinity start.
Okay,
but
it's
it goes back to Harry Hyde or Harry Hall in Days of Thunder. The wheelbase is half as wide, and the car weighs half as much.
Half as much, yeah.
Nicely put.
But yeah, simulator has made a huge difference in the way drivers race anymore. I mean, there are a lot of the racers anymore who weren't necessarily all that good on road courses, but because of the simulator, they've helped them out tremendously. And then to the other point, they've been the road course ringers. AJ Allmendinger, for instance, spending all kinds of time in a simulator. He was pretty much considered a road course ringer, but he spent so much time in Xfinity and then in simulator and stuff that he's just gotten better overall. Hence why he's running full time for colleague racing in Cup Series this year.
Look at Raja Carruth in ARCA and now in the trucks. Raja Carruth never drove a car before he got behind the wheel of an ARCA car. He did all of his stuff on iRacing and the simulator. That's where they found it.
Yeah, I heard that iRacing thing is unbelievable.
iRacing is a lot of fun, and it can be as realistic as you want it to be.
George, you should get Bryce into that.
Bryce is in enough stuff.
George didn't have.
I'm sorry. I'm drawing the line, man. I'm drawing a line.
George didn't have $1,000 to drop on a simulator rig and all that stuff.
I can't. I'm drawing the line, man. It's got to be drawn somewhere at some point in time. It's drawn now.
I could get my kid into iRacing, but I'd have to sell all his goalie gear to do it.
Right. I was just going to say, sell the goalie gear, flip it.
I'm sure George got room in that new house of his to put in a nice iRacing rig.
Not, well, maybe in the basement. One of Bryce's bowling teammates from the summer, his sister actually does kart track racing, different weights and whatnot, and different levels, and she's pretty good. I've watched her mom's videoed a few, popped them on Facebook, and she is not bad. She is a pretty good little driver.
Oh yeah.
Yep, she really is.
I mean,
Jesus. No, and especially not during baseball season. No, because the little booger has done that a few times and gone and, golfed over out at the, at the church lawn and, with the golf clubs and swinging. And I said, oh, I know you've been farting around and swinging the golf clubs because you keep dropping your shoulder. And I said, I can tell when you've been swinging a club. Told him, I said, stop doing that.
Well, the only thing I can say to that comment is the fact that you buy one set of golf clubs is a lot cheaper than buying a new bowling ball, 1 or 2 new bowling balls every year.
We ain't gonna have to do that either. Yeah, we're not gonna have to do that much either because he's hitting a spurt right now, and it's like he's got to kind of get the height and the length and everything kind of in tuned, and it's like, all right, we're at a plateau at the moment, and we'll see what happens.
Gotcha.
I'm all for getting Bryce into golf and another sport to drive George crazy with. We could try his hand. I mean, hey, he's pretty athletic. We could try his hand at tennis.
No. Bruzy, you're killing me. Not gonna happen.
What about soccer,
I was
basketball?
gonna say one of our other friends. She said, "What isn't he in?" I was like, "Listen," I said, "I know it seems like he's in a million and one things, but it keeps the kid busy. He's not like 100% vegging in front of video games and anything else. I mean, he's out.
I got
doing a whole bunch
an
of
extra set of ice skates, George. I'm pretty sure they'd fit Bryce.
stuff.
We can get him out. We can get him.
He's been on the skates. It took a long time for him just to
They have the Learn to Skate program. All you need is your helmet and your pads, and by the end of it, he'll be out there with his stick. It'll be great.
Nope, not happening.
No pressure here, huh?
Not happening. Nope. We draw the lines.
I just try to poke George whatever chance I get. Try to get Bryce to play hockey.
Yeah, not gonna happen. Nope. That one. If we would have went that route, we would have started that one about age 3 or 4.
Well, Thomas started at age 7, so.
Well, mine's now 12, so.
Thomas is 10. He'll be all right. Listen, all he's got to do is skate fast and shoot. He'll be fine.
Yeah. Well, the skating fast is the problem.
He'll get there.
Better staying on his feet.
Oh, Bodine!
See, I'm full of surprises.
I like that guy. He's not too bad.
Bruiser,
Even though he's from Philly.
can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Bruiser, I'm not from Philly. I live outside of Philly, but I'm from Florida, from Jacksonville, where the Jaguars, the home of the Jaguars, Duval County, baby.
That's even worse.
Oh, stop it.
Listen, Philadelphia and Florida are only separated by one thing, and that's the fact that they don't have alligators in Philadelphia, or else they'd be throwing them through drive-through windows like they do down in Florida.
Hey, Gail. You got me put my glasses on. Obviously, I was in the middle of work, and I'm listening to your conversation. You guys are talking about getting Boogie into golf and tennis, and what did you say? What else?
And hockey.
iRacing.
Yeah, iRacing.
And I can visualize G3 pulling his hair out.
There isn't that much
have any
left.
hair.
There's
Doesn't
not
have any
much
hair.
left.
Hey,
Join the club.
hey, George. George, the wife says we could get Bryce into rugby.
Now, I was going to say he'd probably go for that. He'd probably go for that. He probably
Well,
would.
You got plenty of room in his new house of his to put up a really nice iRacing rig. So let's start a GoFundMe account now.
Kale says she can't get Piper interested in anything. If she would.
You know what? That's an interesting. Gail just stumbled onto a really interesting topic. We don't have to talk about anything else tonight. No, I'm serious. The numbers for youth sports signups have gone down and down and down and down. And I'm curious as to why that is.
Video games, bro. Laziness.
I was going to say, the thing is esports is a thing. ironically, even Vermilion does have an esports team, but our the youth sports here, actually the enrollment has actually gone up quite a bit out this way.
See, I would think that it would be the opposite of what Chipper said. Like, if you've got an esports league, I can see kids wanting to get involved in the sport through playing in esports. But like, hockey was down, figure skating was down, soccer was down this year. Baseball has been down, and I don't mean in specific areas. I mean overall. And it just, I don't know if it's a cost thing. I don't know if it's a parent thing, qualified coaching, or if the kids just aren't interested anymore.
It's probably a combination of a couple of those
A and
because
B.
I was going to say the coaching specifics, the politics that's involved, depending on the communities, it's always been a big thing. And it's like, well, this person can get in, but this one's not going to get in, but yet that one's better. But because this person, oh, well, this one maybe, this one's the all-star, always has been, since they were 5, and his name's more known than this other kid, and he's going to go in instead. And it's just like, wait a second, come on, let's be fair about some of these things. So it is a crapshoot. And the other issue is the parents want their kids to get involved into something, but then again, a lot of those same parents, when brought together, a lot of them may not even know about the sport. Last year that happened. Actually, I was a part of the squad that's what happened. Is the dad just got the team kind of handed to him of, okay, you said you'd help out, well, this is what we got. And he's like, well, I really don't know a whole lot, but I can help. And it's just like, well, guess what, 3-headed monster, and it worked out for the benefit of everybody. And we turned around and ran it back again this year. I mean, and it's just that happens too, is sometimes I remember a couple of years ago for Bryce's, the guy who said, well, he could help, but he couldn't be the head coach. Well, just you mark that checkbox that, yeah, you would turn around and help out. Guess what? Sometimes it just gets dumped on you. And that's another problem too, is when it's just dumped on this one parent, and then the other parents are like, well, you don't know what you're doing. Well, yeah, he never said that he knew full on what to do. He just stepped up because nobody else was stepping up to coach. And don't beat up on the guy just because he doesn't know a lot about it. Be grateful that at least he stepped up because nobody else wanted to step up.
There are just so many different directions I can go with this, because I've being of age that I am and have played Little League sports and coached Little League sports for a little while. So many different directions I can go with this. You can go from the cost thing nowadays, because the cost of playing sports is just outrageous anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I can go to the fact that the kids anymore just want to stay in the house and play video games, so they're lazy. They just don't want to play baseball, basketball, football, all those things anymore. They just want to play their video games.
All right. I'm going to take issue with that statement right there, because I don't think that it's that all kids are lazy and just want to play video games. Listen, from about 3 weeks from now, when it is above 50 until November, the boy Blunder here will be outside at all chances that he can get. Same with my daughter. I think part of what we've done though is that our social media was the baseball field down the street at the city park.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. I could tell you when I was a kid, we were either out in my front yard, the house across the street front yard, or we'd go down to the school almost every day, play wiffle ball, baseball, whatever.
Football, yeah, exactly.
During the fall and winter time, we would be out in my street, or we'd be on another street down the street, or be at a park playing football every weekend, or if we were playing on our street, we'd be playing in the snow
Yeah.
on our street playing football.
Yeah,
Every day.
5 degrees, and it was 5 degrees outside. Yep.
Or
You
you
don't
were
see that
sled
anymore.
riding somewhere, but you had.
You
Thing
don't
is,
see that
is you went-
anymore.
not anymore, but that's it's not necessarily a bad thing. If you wanted to talk to your friends, you went to the house that had the most bikes in front of it, and that's where everybody was.
Yep, pretty much.
And we have, I think we as a society, not only with the advent of social media and the pushing of the internet and being able to text and instantly communicate with, this handy dandy, computer that we all carry around in our pocket. I think we as parents in society almost demonized the kids riding around on bikes all the time. And you see signs, you go through like Wadsworth or Seville or Vermilion or Connellsville, PA or wherever. You see no bikes here, no skateboarding here, no, you know what I mean?
No bikes on sidewalk.
No bikes on sidewalk.
I don't have an answer for that. All I can say is because that's for the property thing, because it's private property and people don't want them skateboarding on their property because of legal issues. Maybe it's the only thing I can think of.
I can understand the skateboarding, but to ride your bike up and down the street or on a sidewalk and then get yelled at for it, I think is asinine.
Yeah.
And I've seen it happen.
I was saying, not out here. Everybody, that's most of this town. It's all bikes and golf carts. So
I like that Bodine raised an eyebrow when I said Connellsville, PA.
Well, what I'll add is everybody's commentary is correct. Multiple things can be true at the same time. It's a combination of everything in terms of why, and it's not. And these numbers started to go down before COVID hit. Those numbers, that statement you opened up with, Bruiser, that's 7 years old. That's why the NHL, the NFL, Major League Baseball is trying to pump money to support local neighborhood sports, because those numbers have been going down for a long time. And it is a combination of concussions. Do you know soccer has more concussions than football in under K through 12 sports versus college and pro?
Yeah. My daughter.
But most people think concussions happen more in football, and it's not true. So it's a combination of all those things that you guys were just talking about. There's no one silver bullet. It's everything. So that's, what can you do?
My oldest, my daughter, played soccer from the time that she was 5 until the time that she was a sophomore in high school. And then said, "Dad, I'm done. I don't want to play anymore." All right. And then she found rugby. And it is probably one of the most brutal sports I've ever watched. Ever. But there is a level of respect and camaraderie in those girls that you don't find anywhere else. Like Madison and another girl on her team were in the middle of tackling a girl from Menor last spring, and they broke her femur.
Ooh.
Cracked it right above the knee. The girl managed to heal up, came back for the fall. The first person that this girl looked for was my daughter and the other girl that tackled her. And they were just talking like it was the weirdest thing that ever happened. Can you believe you tackled me and broke my femur? It was hysterical. But Gail said something a minute ago about, well, now you have to worry about something might happen to your kid. You've always had to worry about something happening to your kid. There have always been predators who live down the street. There's always been kidnappers. There's always been the weird guy in the white panel van. There's always been the weird lady who lives down on the corner who nobody goes by. There's always been that person. Every neighborhood has had one. Every one. It's not more prevalent now than it was 10, 20, 30 years ago.
I think social media has just heightened that a little bit
It's
more.
just more publicized now.
Yeah.
No, I can't speak to exactly what Gail was talking about. I took what Gail said as being hurt or injured or something like that. So that's what I took that as. But because the whole concussion thing has come to light so much over the last few years, that's what I took her comment as to being. If she meant what you were talking about, then so be it. But I took it as the whole
if they get hurt,
injury thing. Yeah, injury thing, especially again because concussions have come to the forefront over the last few years. So
concussions, and rightfully so, especially in the youth, needed to be brought to the forefront. I don't think that you should be 10, 11, 12 years old and heading a ball in soccer. I don't think that we should be telling 8, 9, 10, 11-year-old kids that it's cool to cross ice check on the middle of a breakaway like they do in the NHL. I think that staggering the level of aggression with the level of skill and the age,
yeah, she said she did mean what Bruiser had said.
okay.
Yeah.
I don't live in a bubble. I'm fully aware that there are bad things out there. Fully aware. But I have also talked with my kids on how to spot them and where to go. Back to my point of, I think it's A-okay that now we're like, hey, you're 13. You do not need to be coming across the middle and laying somebody out like Troy Polamalu used to. That's not okay.
Agreed.
I think we need to temper that a little bit. I also think that we as parents or coaches or spectators of family members' kids who are in sports need to stop talking to these kids like they're going to be pros.
I would also go back to, and this is not to belittle, your point or what Gail's talking about as far as, you never know what's going to happen. I just like to go back to what I took the comment as being about injuries and stuff like that. I think parents anymore are coddling their kids a lot more nowadays than even when I grew up. When I played Pee Wee football, Little League football, I mean, it was, go ahead and hit. We didn't play tackle football until we were 13, 14 years old. And then obviously going into freshman, high school football. I think nowadays, again, because of the concussions and because of the way kids get hurt anymore, and again, this is just my opinion. If anybody wants to disagree with it, that's fine. It's just my opinion. I think that the way that parents coddle their kids anymore, that they're looking to take extreme measures to make sure that their kids don't get hurt. Again, because of the concussion thing and any other kind of injuries that can happen with these sports, football especially, hockey, that's just where I think it's going.
Look, they don't have – Bodine's shaking his head. I want to hear what he has to say. But they don't allow slap shots in hockey until you get to Bantams, which is essentially high school. That's freshman in high school. And you still can't full on slap shot then. You can't bring the stick above your waist. Thomas took a really good shot off the collarbone earlier this year, and it could have broken his collarbone. injury in sports like soccer, hockey, wrestling, football, even baseball are inherent. They're going to be there. Freak accidents happen. But the point of tempering what you train the kids to do and layering it as they get older and their bodies physically mature, I think is better than telling a 6-year-old or a 12-year-old to go out there and say, hit as hard as you can. You're wearing pads. It's fine.
Well, and
George,
it is the same way with the football regiment. Now, Bryce and these sixth graders will come in and start to utilize the weight room this summer. Well, they're not going to be sitting there, looking to bench press 50, 60 pounds, right off the get-go. I mean, these guys, you have to educate them on what their limitations are because their muscles are still just naturally developing and they need, it needs to be matching up with their physical capabilities. You're not going to be sitting there, trying to force yourself to bench 100 pounds. It's just not going to happen. And I think that's
George,
what some of these guys do have that thought in their heads. Bryce, right out the get-go, he's just like, oh, I can't wait. I'm like, well, what can't you wait to do? I mean, just because you get to turn around and utilize your opportunity to use some weights, you're still going to be limited, as to what weights you're going to be lifting and how you have to lift because you need to be educated on it.
well, George, you're a parent of a 12-year-old, and you also coach your son and kids of his age. How do you approach the physicalness of especially the football part of it? I mean, do you tell Bryce? Do you tell the kids when they're going to attack you hit them, or how do you teach them to tackle?
It's all on proper technique and the heads up football that USA football, the set rules are apply. I mean, all the way even through high school, nothing has changed as far as when they put that into, especially when concussion protocol came into play. They stressed so that there wouldn't be any situations. And I have seen Bryce drop his head once. And I told him, I said, if you ever drop your head to go make a tackle, I will literally walk out there and pull you off the field. I said, because it will not ever happen. I said, because all it takes is that one time. Look at Shazier.
Yep.
One time. That's all it takes. It's all it takes. And we can't stress that to the kids enough. And even in practice, if somebody gets sloppy, we tell them, you're out. You cannot be sloppy in practice. You have to utilize the techniques that we are teaching you on how to tackle properly. Because these guys they watch the pros and it's just like, well, I get this shoulder tackle in. Well, guess what? Somebody goes to try that in the junior high level and everything. Oh, next thing you know, the kid's got a separated shoulder. Why?
Separated shoulder.
Because he thought he knew how to do that. No, you thought you knew how to do it. Guess what? You don't know how to do because nobody ever showed you that. You are just trying to mimic what you think you see off of TV, just kind of like pro wrestling. You want to sit there and it's like, oh, I know how to do that. It's like, no, you weren't trained. Nobody coached you. Nobody showed you. Bruiser can attest on that as far as how you have to learn how to turn around and communicate with the person you're wrestling, the proper techniques, and making sure that you don't hurt somebody else because you will if you do something wrong. If you do not run your pattern properly, you are going to turn around and hurt yourself or hurt somebody else. You think because you can turn around and go up for a ball, you're going to sit there, oh, I'm going to be able to tackle this guy right into the middle of his back. No, you're not going to. That is not how we are teaching you how to tackle. You have to get those proper techniques started literally in practices, in the camps, and in in the conditioning, and that's where you learn all of that. You just, like Bruiser was kidding around about the skates and everything. You have to crawl before you can walk. Same thing with skating. It's like you can't just pick it up and have it done in 10 minutes. It's just not really likely to happen like that. You've
wonder
got
if-
a lot of different technique that you have to be taught before you can turn around and advance. Bodine, same thing. I was gonna say, Bodine, I'll let you take it from here on that one, especially when it goes from they called you the hammer.
Again, don't get me wrong, guys. I like a fight. I like to debate, but I just got to agree with all three of you because you all make valid points because all those things are true. I started playing football. My mom would not allow me to play any sports. Imagine that, growing up in the state of Florida. I couldn't play any sports until I got to junior high school.
Wow.
Junior high.
Wow.
Eighth grade.
When were
Okay.
you in 8th grade?
I'm 57, so you making me do my math.
Danny's old.
So I was born in 1965, so probably 1978.
So you started getting into junior high and high school right as the Miami Hurricanes were taking over the state of Florida.
Well, no. Florida State was still the big dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's not.
Florida State was still the big dog. I graduated high school in '83, so do the math and back up. So I did back when I was in junior high. It wasn't called middle school. Junior high was 8th and 9th grade, and then senior high was 10th, 11th, and 12th. Right. So, but in terms of the techniques, the way we were taught to play football is not the way they're teaching kids. They're teaching kids safety. We were taught drop your head and lay the wood on the runner, on the quarterback, on everybody.
Yep.
We weren't taught we weren't taught to tackle with the shoulder. We were taught to tackle with the head. We were taught to kill the person with see ball, kill ball. That's what we were taught. So thank God that started to change because I have a 22-year-old. She played volleyball. I would hate to have to, and I rarely use that word, it would have been very difficult for me to look my son, if I had a son, in the eye and tell him he couldn't play tackle football. That would have been really difficult. But thank goodness I didn't have a son, so it was easy for my daughter to participate in sports.
But she played volleyball. How many ACLs did you have to replace?
None.
Really?
None. And listen, it's a sore topic. We can talk about it later. She was the best. She was the best volleyball player on the high school level in junior high school. I'm sorry, middle school. And when she got to high school, she played 1 year and said, I'm done.
I love inadvertently finding like the buttons to poke.
That's what you do.
Jeez.
So that's a long story, Bruiser. So in terms of all the things that are happening, you guys know this. Sports, most people think the movie industry or the movies or music industry is the most financially solvent sports on the planet. No. The sports industry makes more money than any other entertainment industry. Pick any category. Sports is a big business. We all know that.
Look at the contracts they're throwing out in the Champions League over there in Europe.
We all know that. So the point is that until we get I mean, the only thing that's going to matter, you guys were talking about on the Pee Wee level, the high school level, stuff like that, from coaches to the parents, the rules, they don't have common rules for people to follow, right? They need to be rules across the board, so everybody understands those rules. But also the coaches are basically teachers, right? We need coaches teaching kids the right way to do things. Therefore, you would have less injuries. And that's not just in football, that's in baseball, that's in all the sports. But what's great about America is we're a free country. We can kind of do what we want, and we can kind of bend the rules as long as you don't get caught. So,
well, we still have, like when I was recently obtained by Vermilion, there's still a lot of certifications that you have to go through and you've got to pass. And
yep,
the teacher coach is an established position in the school system. And
yep,
there is hours upon hours of online trainings that we had to sit through that, it's like, hey, listen, you need to understand the safety is your responsibility, and how you educate those kids on their safety and the proper techniques is in your hands. And if you fail at it, you won't be doing it.
Well, I think that's a great point. You guys bring up the whole, class of, certifications and having to learn and all that stuff. I mean, when I was a kid playing football, baseball, my dad was my coaches, both football and baseball. He's a parent. He didn't have to go to get certified. He was just a parent, a dad trying to teach kids how to play, and who had other fathers as his assistant coaches, just teaching us how to play the game. May or may not have been the right way, but nowadays, like you said, you guys have to go to certifications. You guys have to go to classes and learn how to teach kids nowadays to do it the right way. Where when I was a kid, it's like, here, this is how the game is played. My dad didn't know how to teach us the right way to tackle. He didn't know how to teach us the right way to play or slide in the second base or whatever it is in baseball. But yeah, nowadays you parents have got it. You guys have got to go through classes, certifications, and be able to teach the kids to do it the right way.
And their safety is, of course, first and foremost on that agenda. And it has been a lot. I mean, with the YMCA organization, I mean, I started when I was 16 learning and being educated in, the format and the beginning steps of, what to do with each of the sports and the techniques and everything. And rule number one was always the safety of the kids that are either as a coach, they are your responsibility. That is first and foremost, or even as the official, the umpire, referee, your responsibility first and foremost, besides knowing how to officiate the sport, was the safety of the kids that are on your floor, on your ice, in your gym, on your field. That is still rule number one, is the safety of the kids. If somebody goes down hard and all of a sudden you've got a play that still keeps coming up and it's going to come up right past this person, you blow that whistle. Because if that kid gets clobbered on a second time and gets balled over and maybe the other kids get hurt because of it, you can be sued.
Yeah. Yep. You also got that going for you nowadays too. Is Sue happy?
Well, that door swings both ways though, Chipper. I mean, it's the warranted ones. There are some that it's minor that it happens with, but then there's the major ones where it needed to happen. So that I understand, and that is it's a double-edged sword. That door, like I said, it does go both ways.
Yep. So this turn made a heck of a turn from talking about NASCAR racing to talking about this.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I saw a comment and it brought it.
No, but like I said, it's it's still something that it's not the first time we've brought it up before either, but I mean, it's a good discussion to have. I mean, there's nothing negative about it. It's a good discussion to have. I mean, like I said, you want these kids to grow up to play. I mean, it is what, a 1.5 stats ain't here. It's like a 1% shot that any of these kids, when they're starting off in youth sports, will actually make it into the pros.
Yep.
1%.
Yep.
And if you happen to have a kid who's in that 1%, cool. I mean, right now, yes, I've got Bryce in 3 or 4 different things that he enjoys doing. I always said, you know, I happen to tell people way back, I said, if I can make it happen and let my kid try and do whatever he wanted to do, I would definitely do what I could to let him do it. And I'm letting him do it. There's, you know, as long as the grades are there and are good, fine. We'll keep letting you do what you do. And he does. He's got A's and B's, and I'm very happy with that. So, okay, we can continue to do this. Now, of course, now I told him once the homework really starts coming in and he's got football practice or basketball practice and everything, when it gets on to now he's going to be in the really heavy junior high years, I said, that could be a different story. But I told him, I said, be prepared for it. I said, because it's going to happen where you're going to have to deal with going to practice, come home, eat some dinner, and do your homework at the same time and still be up until 11, 12 o'clock, get to bed, wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning and go back to school and do it again.
Hey, Bodine, you just had the one daughter, and did she only play just the one sport throughout her whole childhood career? What do I call it?
She played volleyball because she was tall. Her grandfather, her mom's dad, convinced her to play volleyball. I didn't even know she was going to play volleyball. It just happened out of the blue. My ex-wife was a QVC model. So my daughter grew up in the QVC studios because it's a couple of miles from here.
Right.
So my daughter grew up, you know, doing the little girl stuff like ballet. She had piano lessons.
You're burying the lead here.
So she did all these other activities. The only sport she ever played was volleyball. That's it.
Okay.
You're burying the lead here. A QVC model?
Yeah, but you heard me say divorced.
I got that part too. I'm curious.
You trying to figure out how he landed there?
I'm curious.
Okay, so now we're gonna go from NASCAR to child sports to QVC model.
Guess what, Bruiser? You got 2 minutes. I gotta go.
I'm curious. When things got a little heated, did she have a screen in the bedroom? Did she walk out and be like, "This could be yours for $49.99," and then walk behind it again, and then come back out and be like, "Or 3 easy payments of $69.99."
and after once free shipping.
Yeah, I mean, was that involved? I would really. These are things I need to know.
Bruiser, I love you, brother. I love you to death. I gotta go. I love you to death.
Hey, buddy.
I'll see you guys
later.
You cannot say things like QVC model and not.
Oh my God!
This lovely little lace two-piece could be yours for $39.99.
Well, if you act now, we'll give it on 6 easy pays of $9.99.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh!
I've almost killed George twice tonight.
Don't do that.
My goodness. George messages me earlier tonight and saying if I want to do this. I'm like, yeah, what are the topics? And he says this. I'm like, well, we go from Daytona to kids sports to QVC models.
Oh my goodness. Ah,
Thought.
hey, you never know what you're gonna get on Dueling. Right?
It's like a box of chocolates.
Hey, he gave me an opening. I'm sorry. You can't say things like that.
Oh,
My
trust me.
ADD-addled brain just won't let that go.
Trust me. I heard him say it too. And I was wondering. I was waiting for him to stop talking. I was going to ask him about it.
Oh my
I know
goodness.
George saw me raise the eyebrow when
Yep,
he
and I
said
knew it. I knew it.
I
knew
can
it.
see the-
you just
I
went,
could see the Charlie Brown thought bubble above George's head of "Don't say it, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it," and then I said it, and I just saw the ampersand and an exclamation point and a dollar sign.
and the @ sign.
Yes,
Yep.
That would have been a great time for the
As
mute
soon,
button.
as soon as his facial expression when he said it, I'm going, oh man. Oh, here we go.
no.
But you know what? I was gonna say Suds would have jumped all over it too. He totally would have. Oh,
Listen,
my
I'm a
God.
classier Suds. Let's put it that way.
Oh man.
So
Oh, geez.
about the other three topics you have up there, the NFL,
Yeah,
XFL,
I was
and
gonna say,
NBA.
unfortunately, because
The
of my
hell with it.
weekend was full, Bodine actually did catch a lot of the XFL, which turned out to be some really good football games.
I heard it was really good.
They were really, really solid games. So I was hoping to get his little report about that, but we'll definitely try to make sure it catch a little bit more this weekend.
Well,
But
just
yeah,
make sure that when you have them on next week after this weekend's game, not to bring up the QVC model.
It's fine. I got it out of my system. We're good.
yeah. But no, I did see a couple highlights, and it looked like just normal regular football. And the
Did
funny
any
thing
stadium
is,
have the beer snake going on?
I'm sorry.
Did any of the stadiums have a beer snake going on, though? I mean, the last XFL game I saw, that beer snake that went from the top of the stadium down to the bottom was pretty epic.
I was gonna say that's very true, but I did not hear about any beer snakes. But yeah, I know what one you're talking about. That it was impressive. But
That's
no,
a ton of beer.
It is. Well, oh, I'm sorry. That was at USFL. XFL,
No, that was the XFL.
No.
Help me out here. What is this
USFL
beer snake?
XFL didn't play last year. They played the year before.
That's what I said. The last XFL game I
Oh, the
saw
last-
was they had that beer snake.
Oh, I was going to say, I thought the USFL, they did that last year too.
There was a couple places that did it, but for whatever reason, at the XFL games, this caught on. People would start drinking beer, and then they just start stacking the cups.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, it would go from the front row at the field level all the way up to the mezzanine in one unbroken chain. And people would just stand there with this thing on their shoulder.
No, I think I saw that in a Major League Baseball game last year, didn't I?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's becoming a thing. It is becoming a thing.
Yeah, 'cause
Scarily,
at the
it's becoming a thing.
At the baseball game, they had actually an usher come up and pull the glasses from all the people, if I remember. Was that at a Cubs game or Yankees game, or I can't remember which, but yeah, I remember seeing this huge, like you guys call it, snake of glasses, and at a baseball game. So okay, same thing.
But I was actually going to pull a double whammy and ask him about how he thought about both the Philadelphia defensive and offensive coordinators and coaches leaving and going to the Arizona Cardinals and the Indianapolis Colts teams because they became their head coaches.
I cannot get over the fact that the dude's name is Jim Bob Cooter.
Oh, yeah.
Why do his parents hate him that much?
He was in Detroit. He was in Detroit, and that's when I first heard about him. Was in Detroit.
Yeah, he's the OC.
Yeah. His full legal name is James Robert Cooter.
Yep. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
When I first heard that name, I thought it was a character from Dukes of Hazzard.
I think a lot of people did.
I hope his horn plays Dixie when he beeps it.
Jesus. Oh, I'm sure he's heard them all.
I mean, Cooter was the cousin. He was the tow truck driver.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Uncle Jesse wasn't the tow truck driver.
Nope.
Yeah, I was gonna say, who got that one confused?
My wife asked me if that was Uncle Jesse.
That's right,
No.
because Scooter had the shop.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's been a long time
Yep.
since I've seen Dukes of Hazzard.
I put a link in our little chat here for the beer snake that got confiscated by stadium security, the DC Defenders. After it was confiscated, the fans threw lemons onto the field.
Lemons?
Yeah, I
Was it in the beer?
don't know. I don't know.
Where the hell would they get the lemons?
Listen, as a member of the latter stage of Gen X and the very beginning of the millennial generation, kids today have zero chill.
My goodness.
There it is. There's the start of the beer snake.
My goodness. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I remember seeing it at a baseball game or two last year. Yeah.
But yeah, it's like it's gonna take a lot of cups.
Yep.
Hey, bud. Yeah. Go to the bathroom. It's bedtime in a few minutes.
All right. So yeah, like I said, it's we actually get football. I mean, literally every weekend until almost June.
Because the USFL starts in April, correct?
April. Yep.
Yeah. That's what I.
And
that's what I thought.
they're gonna run the XFL runs until April. I think April into May with their championships, and then USFL runs all the way into June, and that's only leaves just 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks till preseason. So
I think the XFL and the USFL are ultimately going to hurt the NFL.
well, the USFL is backed by the NFL now
Yes.
as their farm system. So
Yep.
I understand that, but I don't mean player wise. I don't mean player wise or attendance. I mean in TV viewership.
I don't think so.
I'll tell you why. How can
Yeah,
I miss you
please
if you
do.
don't go away?
Please
What's
do.
that?
How can I miss you if you don't go away? If you have football on from the middle of July, which is usually when the Hall of Fame game is, and July
August.
beginning.
First weekend of August.
So you have
Yeah.
football from then until February, and that's the NFL and college and high school. But we're talking about nationally televised football, so college and pros. Then you start up the XFL right after that, and then you start up the USFL after that. By that point, people are going to be so fatigued with football, I think it can hurt the overall viewership. Why do I need to watch this week? It'll be on next week. It'll be on the week after that.
Well, last year I started watching the USFL, but once I got,
Love you.
well, I should say, once there was other stuff to do outside, it's always on the weekends. There's camping weekends, there's baseball tournaments, there's bowling tournaments. I mean, it became an afterthought eventually. And it's like, okay, not ready for it until basically August when I have to worry about NFL and NFL football as a whole. So,
Yeah.
I mean, everybody kind of knows that the XFL and USFL, it's like, it's minor league, and it's just like watching minor league baseball. How often are you going to watch minor league baseball? Well, it just depends.
Yeah, I personally don't think that XFL or USFL will hurt NFL viewership or anything whatsoever, because for the five,
I
6
don't
months
think by
for the 5 or 6 months that we're stuck indoors during the wintertime watching stuff, we're basically watching the NFL. Where when it comes to April and all other stuff, we're wanting to get outside, play golf, play baseball, and then it's also, for me as a baseball fan, I'm more into watching baseball and obviously NASCAR more than I want to watch football. So,
but what I don't mean by you're going to take millions upon millions of viewers away. But
No, I understand where you're getting at.
A slow erosion is an erosion nonetheless. And yes, springtime is around the corner, and you will be mowing your lawn on a Saturday or a Sunday. You'll be tending to your garden. You'll be doing stuff. But guess
March Madness comes into play.
March
Freshman
Madness
games.
is March Madness is a very short period of time, though.
But that's still 4 weekends.
I understand that.
Still 4 full weekends.
I fully understand that. But again, with the last couple of March Madness tournaments, the number 1 seed's gone out in the first round.
Shocker.
But I mean, you're looking at teams that have large fan bases that go out in the first round,
Mm-hmm.
and most of the casual viewership is like, well, I don't need to watch this anymore. Why do I care? So, but what I mean by it will cause an erosion is that, like, you have, yeah, I agree with you. It's springtime. There's stuff to do. However, we live in Northeast Ohio. Chipper, you live in Pennsylvania, right?
no, Valeria.
You live in there. All right. You live in Northeast Ohio too. You know how temperamental the weather is around here. It can be summer, winter, fall, and spring in a matter of 6 hours.
True.
So
But
you could.
I would still rather spend my weekends either outdoors playing golf, going to a baseball game, or watching a NASCAR race on just one of those days. Because for me, Sundays watching NASCAR race, I do other things like stuff around the house. Where, during the wintertime, during NFL season, what else am I going to do? I'm basically locked into my house for 5 or 6 months with nothing else to do outdoors. Where when spring and summertime do come around, I can actually get outside and do other stuff. So, look, the diehard football fan will watch XFL and USFL. The diehard football fan will, no doubt about it. I'm just not a diehard football fan.
I can see where you're coming from, but like Sundays at my house are D&D day, right? We play D&D on Sunday afternoons here. Our friends come over, we cook a bunch of food.
That's still a thing?
What's that?
Oh yeah.
That's still a game?
Oh yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's never. You got to remember, D&D literally been played since the 1960s.
70s.
So, yeah,
I just remember it being played by my buddies when I was a kid. So,
yep.
It's now one of the most. It is now, like it has hit the pop culture zeitgeist with shows like Stranger Things and Critical Role, things like that. Big Bang Theory. I still can't get into that show.
Love that show.
I got called a more polite Sheldon the other day.
Okay, why?
You were waiting until I was drinking again.
I'm
putting the bottle down.
I did though. I got called a more Listen, George has seen me be very prickly.
Oh, God.
And I think he understands that statement is actually pretty factual.
Oh man.
What, you being prickly?
No, the more polite Sheldon.
Oh.
Listen, George was here for my Daytona 500 party last season.
Yeah.
Midway through, I disappeared for like an hour.
Why?
Too many people and too much noise. I walked to the other end of my house and
I
sat
gotcha.
down and sat down the other end of my house and watched the race in the quiet.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, crowds, lots of people. Yeah, I get that.
There wasn't that. I mean, there's probably what 10, 15 people here.
Yeah, it got a little. It was getting a little crowded. The
Okay.
couch,
especially
the
the-
wraparound was full.
It was.
It was, and it was SRO, standing room only.
I have a very large wraparound couch in my living room / dining room, Chipper, and like
Okay.
you can fit. I mean, ass cheek to ass cheek, probably 10 people on that couch. And
there
if
were
you
at
got
least
up off of
eight plus the dog.
yeah,
'Cause
well,
the dog-
we had Winston at that point. Now Kirk
Yep.
takes up his own cushion. But you could probably fit 10 people ass cheek to ass cheek on that couch. And if you got
Gotcha.
up off of that couch during the race, your spot was immediately filled.
and believe me, I had to go to the bathroom, and I wasn't getting up.
Is that where you would bring one of those, what they call them, coloscopy bags?
Hey, look, if I can sit through 3.5 hour movies, I could sit through another 2 hours of a race, no problem. But no, it was a lot. It was a lot of people, and people were literally standing up behind the wraparound, even sitting at the kitchen table there too. And it was like, wow, it's a packed house, that's for sure. Bruiser puts
At
on
one
a
point,
helmet.
I opened the sliding glass door to my sunroom in the back and just sat out there because then there
Yeah.
was space. Nobody, I
Yeah.
could sit in my chair. Oh, it got insane. Like when we have barbecues out here, like George has been out here, we'll get a number of people, and it's not a big house, but even with all the yard and the space that we have, it fills up pretty quick.
No, but you also throw a very good party though. You do.
Try. I
You
appreciate
do.
that.
You do. You really do.
I made homemade sloppy joes yesterday for the Daytona 500.
Okay, what exactly is homemade sloppy joes? I mean,
Not manwich.
Not manwich.
Not manwich. Yeah.
okay.
Anything that's not manwich.
I made the
Okay.
spices and I made the sauce with the
I got you.
spices and
Okay.
everything.
All right.
George gets mad whenever I tell him what I cook because he likes my cooking.
Yeah, he's a good cook. Not gonna complain one bit. Really good, solid cook.
Yeah, if you say homemade pasta, George will get mad again too.
Hey, yeah, let's not bring that up yet. Yeah, we're not gonna bring
My
that up.
baking must be terrible.
Those nests looked perfect a couple weeks ago. They looked perfect, just absolutely perfect. Yeah.
We are. My next thing is to make pasta dough again, but I'm going to make homemade ramen with the girl child because she likes ramen. So we're going to use the pasta maker to make ramen noodles and make homemade ramen.
Nice.
Everybody likes ramen.
Do you have your own smoker?
I do not have a smoker, but I have figured out how to do it on my grill and
Yeah.
low and I cooked the last time I made pulled pork. It cooked for a grand total of 6 hours. It smoked on the grill for 2 and then finished in the oven for 4.
Okay. Okay.
Low and slow, 275.
Yeah, doing pulled pork is a very long process. Anywhere from 6 to 9 hours, depending on how big and the temp you smoke it at.
I do it at 275, and then I make the sauce. The sauce cooks for 12 hours total. It simmers for 4 and then steeps for 8, and then I heat it back up at the very end, and then strain it to get all the seeds and bits of veggies out of it, and then you dip pork in it.
Gotcha.
We're gonna have to, you know what, George? I'm gonna have to have Chipper down to the house this summer now. Like we're gonna have barbecue for a NASCAR race. Chipper's gonna have to come down and hang out.
No, hey, I'll bring some ribs. I'll bring some of my bacon wrapped onion rings. You know, whatever.
Wait,
What?
hold on.
What?
Back up one.
Bacon wrapped
Ribs? Ribs?
My inner fat kid just got my outer fat kid just got really excited about bacon wrapped onion rings.
What?
Yep. I make bacon wrapped onion rings. Smoked bacon wrapped
Now-
onion rings.
I'm gonna need you to teach me how to do that because I need to learn how to make those.
I can do that, sure. It's relatively easy.
My outer fat child is like, what?
George, my wife said her outer fat kid got excited.
Have you ever seen a recipe
Nice.
for a short rib stuffed pineapple?
No, but that doesn't sound awful.
Yep, you just take and hollow out, cut an end off a pineapple, hollow it out, and stick some short rib in it. Put it in
Boneless
the
short
smoker.
rib?
Yeah. Yep. Put it in the middle of it and throw it in the smoker.
I'm
Pretty
in.
wild.
I'm all about this.
So
Well, I didn't catch a whole. I want to touch on this All-Star Weekend thing with the NBA too. The only thing that, really looked noteworthy that, outside of the diehards who are going to lambaste me for it, but DK Metcalf turns around and wins MVP of the celebrity basketball game, and then on Monday or Sunday, actually, he shows on Twitter that he gets a text message from some guy saying he's with the NFL and he needs to turn around and get in touch with them about getting drug tested. It did not look legit. The text message looked really fishy to begin with, and it was just like, okay, somebody's pulling his leg or whatever. I did not see yet anything that was like official, and there was a thing even on the NFL page that said it was an official ordeal, and it looks like somebody was trying to have a joke with him or whatever, but they said, oh, it wouldn't be the first time the NFL does something after somebody's major achievements. If you look at the physical stature of DK Metcalf, he is a very tall wide receiver who plays in the NFL. That's what they look like. There's nothing out of the ordinary. It's just like, I'm sorry. You guys need to understand that most basketball players are also that muscular. He just looked much larger than a lot of the other celebrities because they are not major athlete celebrities.
Look at LeBron. LeBron was going to play safety in the NFL.
Yeah. Oh, exactly.
Yeah, that was tight end.
The only person who could probably give
tight end.
DK a run for his money was The Miz, and because The Miz is pretty jacked. He's not
The
as
Miz is
tall.
also pretty athletic.
He's not as tall as DK is, but damn, come on.
Miz is 6 foot.
I think D's 6'4". He's a little taller. But no, I that was pretty much about the only thing I had even sniffed off noteworthy because the NBA didn't even have anything else. It was like that's the only thing that they were running with.
No, I didn't catch 1 minute of it all this weekend, but I did hear about how Mike Malone said it was like the worst NBA game ever.
Well, the other thing is the slam dunk contest. Clint was even saying that only somebody was doing like a 540, and he says, well, maybe if they reversed it, it would have been like one of the newer things that somebody's seen. Otherwise, he said, everybody's seen everybody dunk before and do half of the dunks that they were doing, and it's just nothing spectacular anymore, and it's more of a popularity contest than anything.
But the big names don't do the dunk contest now.
And that's the other problem.
Listen, get me LeBron and Westbrook and Kevin Love and the big name guys out there just doing the and one dunks for an hour and a half.
Kevin Love dunk.
It's a name. You get what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. I was thinking that more or less like LeBron, KD, Ja. Who else?
Ball.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, get those
You-
guys to do the dunk contest.
Chipper,
Yeah.
I don't watch basketball
Mm.
at all. So the fact that I could pull out LeBron and KD and a couple other names is a miracle.
This
Listen,
is true.
I got side eyes in the grocery store yesterday as we were shopping for things to cook for the 500. As I was shooting into the cart, the pumpernickel bread and the buns, and yelling Kobe across the grocery store.
And it bounced out and Thomas did it.
Wow. Wow.
So George, so what do you think about the whole Kevin Love thing? Did they do him right?
I don't know. The fact that he's not really been making a big stink about it either. I mean, you'd think that behind closed doors, it sounds like they were negotiating something back and forth. I don't know.
I think he negotiated his way out of town a long time ago.
Well, he knew he wasn't. He knew he wasn't getting any playing time anymore for some reason.
Yeah, and I think that's the other thing. I mean, like when Bryce and I went to the Milwaukee game, and I think he finally came off the bench in the second quarter, I want to say, and I was surprised that it was like that long, and I was just kind of like, okay, all right, well, but then yeah, it's like there wasn't a whole lot of playing time because next thing you know, it's like boom, it was halftime. And he was back off the floor and didn't come back on. He was like on for a couple minutes or two in the third and then wasn't seen again until late in the fourth and in a couple stretches and then got subbed in, subbed out, because they were doing a lot of quick subbing at that point. And then that was it. So,
do you think it was a mutual thing then?
I think so.
I just hate to think that, for as long as he's been with the Cavs and he was again, the last piece of the 2016 championship, I thought they could have found some way of getting him playing time, especially with the inexperience of the team that it is now. At least he was the experience and whatnot. But, if he wasn't getting the playing time and they wanted to go in a different direction, and as long as it was a mutual thing, then, hey, so be it.
Yeah, and at the rate, I hate to say it, but it's at the rate of free agency with the NBA. The guys are moving faster between teams than they do in the NFL, and that's not a good thing.
Two seasons on Team Max.
Yeah, you can't really build a good chemistry. You can't really build on anything, and that's kind of a problem. It's like everybody wants to just win now, but you don't give anything enough time to build up a chemistry. You just can't try to, we're trying the whole super team thing. Well, everybody's found out the super team thing does not work.
No,
it does not work. So Get that out of your heads. But everybody all these guys just keep trying it or are trying to force the issue at hand of trying it. And I don't think that's right either.
I just thought, and again, I'm kind of like Bruiser, where I watch hardly any NBA, but I do listen to Cleveland sports talk radio and media and stuff like that. I just thought that they could have found a place for him to stay on the team. I mean, this Dylan Windler guy that they have hasn't played a minute this year from if I read right, because he's been hurt almost all season. He's got to be better than Dean Wade. He's got to be better than Danny Green, who they just signed. I mean,
Chipper, why are you listening to Cleveland sports talk? That stuff will rot your brain.
I was going to say, I have this because of Cleveland sports talk.
Well, one station in particular. If I'm going to listen to Cleveland Sports Talk, I'm listening to one station and one show. And that's in the
What would that
morning.
be?
And it's not the 4-letter one.
I'm listening to it in the mornings, and it's on the FM side of the dial.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
if it's a sports channel on the FM, that's what I listen to in the morning. That or NASCAR radio and Sirius XM.
Yeah, I listen to the morning drive on Sirius XM every morning.
Yeah, so do I.
Gents, I gotta head out.
Mine is tuned into the NFL Network,
Gotcha.
or I'll slide it open to Bust It Open once in a while too,
Busted Open's good.
because I listen to Ligrica and Bully and.
Gents, I gotta slide out because my daughter's got a
Yep.
paper that she's got to finish for school. So
Yep,
Same here. I got a jet
wrap
too.
it up. Thank you, gents, for joining in. Thanks to Bodine as well for sliding in and sliding out.
Hey, thanks
remember,
for,
this can
thanks
be
for-
yours for $39.99.
with